Hello, sports fans. How you doing? This is a quick little tutorial on how to use Google Sheets to do some basic graphing. Most of the graphs we're going to be using in science is called an XY scatter plot. Sometimes it's called a line graph, although that can be used in other ways too, but usually it's like an XY scatter plot. Okay, so how do we do this? Open up Google Sheets. What you want to do here, the very first thing you type is going to be the independent or it's going to be on the x-axis. So in this case, I'm going to put volume, and I always put labels with it. And then the y-axis, or dependent variable, would be the next column. And this is going to be mass, and I'll call that grams. Okay. And then I'm just going to put in some numbers. We'll call this like a mystery metal or a mystery material. And let's say the volume is 2, 4, 5, and 7 milliliters. Now, if you notice, right, some of these have significant numbers and some of them don't. And people say, well, this should have 3 significant numbers, but the computer shut it off, so therefore I'll just leave it. Can't do that. You have to know how to control it. The way you control it is you just click on it, go up here, and you can add the number of significant digits. This now has 3 sig figs, which let's say that's for volume. Now we got to do the mass, and mass is kind of similar for 8.1, 9.99, and then 14.2. Okay, and again, these should all have, let's say these should all have at least 3, like go to the hundredths place. So how do you control that? Again, you can go up here and control it. And this is how it has to match the data, and you can't just say, well, I don't know how to do that, or the computer did it. Well, no, we're the ones in charge of the computer. Now, so let's make a graph. And unfortunately, because it's Google, they don't call it graph, they call it a chart. So we're just going to go insert chart, and there it is. And right away, pretty nice, right? We can pick from different charts over here. We can customize and do all kinds of things. I'm going to shut myself off. I've been told I've got the perfect face for podcasting. That's okay. So we're going to, so here's, you can pick different charts, but we're going to stick with the scatter chart. And this is looking pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's take a look at the titles and axes on here. Let's call it the mystery metal. Okay. Mystery metal. Because again, if you're ever in doubt, you always want to put the title, whatever you're graphing. This is mass, that's the dependent. This is volume, which is the independent variable. Everything looks good there. We've got the right number sig figs. Now, we really want to see what goes through 0, 0. So we can do that, not too hard. We'll go back to here, just click on horizontal axis and scroll down. And let's have a minimum of 0 and a maximum, let's call it, I don't know, we can call it like, let's say 10. Okay, so we can figure out where this would go to. And then we could do the same thing if we wanted to for the vertical axis, just to make it a little bit bigger so we can kind of estimate. Again, the minimum is 0. Let's say the maximum is, let's say 20. Okay, just going to pick some numbers there. And there we go. Now, what we really want to do is we really want the line. Okay, so we really, really want the line. So for this one, it's a little bit hidden, but there's some really important information you would like to get. I'm going to go to series. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to say trend line. Okay, so it's going to add the trend line. And again, before you do anything else, a couple of things we definitely want to add. You really want to add the equation to the trend line. That'll give us all kinds of important information, like the slope, which is super important. And then we want the R-squared value. The R-squared value, the closer that is to 1, the better our data matches up. Pretty darn close. Goes to 0, 0. Does it make sense that 0 mass and 0 volume would be the same? Yes, it is. This is as good as it gets. So when I look at this, I've got this graph. It's labeled. I've got mass in grams on this side, volume in milliliters on this side. I can see my data points. I've got the equation of the line. So y equals mx plus b, or the mass equals something times the volume, which is the x. And this is like where we think it hits. So this is a pretty good R squared value, which is the best you can get. Great graph. you definitely want to, this would be a keeper. Of course, I made up the data. And then you can click this and put it into your thing. Hope that helps, and hopefully it does work.